My whole life, I've never really been into Corvettes. They just haven't really been my thing. So then a few weeks ago, I got an email from a viewer in Atlanta, Georgia, who invited me down to come and check out his Corvette, the ultimate Corvette, a C6 Corvette ZR1. So I figured, might as well give it a shot. Before I see if the Corvette ZR1 changes my feelings on the Corvette, let me tell you why this one is the ultimate Corvette. Built from 2009 to 2013, the Corvette ZR1 had a supercharged V8 with 638 horsepower and 604 pound-feet of torque. It had an entire Toyota Corolla more power than the Corvette Z06, and it had an entire Subaru WRX more power than the standard Corvette. The result was 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds and a top speed of 205 miles per hour. So on paper, the Corvette ZR1 sounds pretty amazing, but what about in practice? Well, I'm going to show you around the Corvette ZR1, and then I'm going to give you my first impressions, and then I'm going to take this one on the road to find out if the ZR1 is ultimate enough to get me into Corvettes. And as always, for more of my thoughts, click the link below to check out my column on autotrader.com/oversteer. I'll start the tour with something I always found to be a little odd about the Corvette ZR1. Now, a lot of exotic cars have clear hoods so that you can see the cool engine. The ZR1 also has a clear hood. Hello! But when the ZR1's hood is closed, you can't see the whole engine and all of its cool parts and pieces, you just see the engine cover. I've always found that to be a little strange. Since this car isn't an Italian exotic, but rather a Corvette, it doesn't have a lot of weird quirks, but it does have some noticeable changes over the standard Corvette. There's a different body kit, for instance, and carbon ceramic brakes. There's an aluminum frame to save weight, and GM's excellent magnetic ride control suspension comes standard. There are different larger wheels and stickier tires, and there's a lot of carbon fiber on the roof, the pillars, the rocker panels, the front spoiler and the hood, and even the front fenders.
Climb inside though, and it looks like a regular Corvette. The base price of the ZR1 was $105,000 just 8 years ago, and inside, well, regular Corvette buttons and center screen, regular Corvette climate control vents, regular Corvette shift lever and center control stack, regular Corvette dashboard and floor mats, regular Corvette manual reclining seats, regular Corvette gauges with a little ZR1 logo, regular Corvette stalks for the turn signals and the windshield wipers, regular Corvette switchgear for the climate controls, and a regular Corvette parking brake that sticks up out of the center console. It even has that regular GM font for the odometer and that typical General Motors green glow for the heads-up display. And let's be honest, on the outside it looks pretty regular too. Considering this is a six-figure ultra Corvette with 638 horsepower, you have to admit that most people would probably look at it and think it's just a Corvette. But then again, none of this stuff really matters if it's amazing behind the wheel. So, how does it drive? I started off on normal roads. So on low speeds, I don't feel like I'm driving anything but a standard Corvette. This feels like a fairly rational, reasonable automobile. The transmission feels super tight. When you think about Corvettes and you think about stick shifts, I mean, I had an old Cadillac CTS-V where you could move the lever a lot even when it was in gear. Not in this thing. In this thing, it's really tight. Now we're sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic. It's fairly easy to operate in bumper-to-bumper traffic. The clutch is easy. It's easy to figure out, and it's not like the Viper. It's not heavy. My leg doesn't hurt. It's a normal car in traffic, which is nice. I'm going 40 miles an hour on suburban roads, and it still feels like a normal car. If it sounds like I'm a little bored, well, I am. This is the fabled Corvette ZR1, but mostly I wasn't really all that impressed with it. There just wasn't that much to say about it. Then I moved on to some twisty roads. Hey, grips. Certainly doesn't handle like a mid-engine car. Look at that face. Is that face the face of someone who's satisfied with the ultimate Corvette? It was fine on these curvy roads, but I was starting to wonder, what's with all the hype about this car? Then it was time to get on the highway. All right. Now we got a nice on-ramp.
I was on it for about 2 seconds of full throttle there, and then I got scared. That was brutally fast acceleration. That's definitely an experience I'd like to have again. If you could please move. Okay, good. Wow. Oh, that's insane. That is crazy insane. The thing is, you don't expect it from a Corvette. You're sitting in a Corvette, especially one that has driven so Corvette-like up until this point, and then all of a sudden you put your foot down and you are seriously in exotic car territory. And this is fourth. Wow. Wow. Get this again. Oh, bye. Wow. Oh, it's insane. It's totally insane. If you saw this in a parking lot or a restaurant, it would say, oh, it's a Corvette, that's cool. And you would have no idea that it's capable of this. So here's my conclusion about the Corvette ZR1. The interior, the exterior styling, the driving experience around town and on curvy roads, it's a little too mundane for a six-figure car. But the speed, well, that's a different story. But when I was 20 and the Corvette ZR1 just came out, I remember thinking to myself, why would anyone ever get a Ferrari anymore? Now that you can buy a Corvette with all this performance for half the price. But on paper isn't really the same as real life. And in real life, this isn't really a Ferrari competitor. Is it worth $100,000? Not to me, but I have to admit, if you go on AutoTrader and look through used listings, these are starting to creep into the low 60s and high 50s. And in that territory, it's a whole different ballgame.